Hi everyone, my name is Juan Pablo on Español and English private tutoring. Today I'm going to talk about how to become fluent in Spanish. But before that, I'm going to talk to you about my experience and who I am. So, as I mentioned, my name is Juan Pablo. I'm from Colombia. My first language Spanish. I've been teaching for more than 15 years. And I have done several courses. One of those courses includes pedagogy from Sena University in Colombia, South America. And I have also worked with different institutions. One of those is the Philadelphia School, where I taught kids from different ages. I also have other experience teaching adults and all kind of range of people throughout my years. While working with the Philadelphia School, I also did a course in progressive learning. Okay, let's start now. Now, the first rule, if you want to learn conversation, is to speak Spanish. And why is that? Learning a language is like learning to play an instrument. It's a skill that is acquired through practice. In other words, if you don't practice, you will never learn. You can take many courses, you can read a lot of books, but if you don't sit and practice the guitar, you will never learn to play guitar. It's the same with Spanish. In order for you to learn conversation, you have to talk in Spanish, make the effort. Also, it's extremely important to get feedback, either from a tutor, from a native speaker, or from many options that are out there in the market where you can interact with AI, and I'm going to explain more that later. There are two basic methodologies to learn Spanish. One is a combination of grammar and immersion. The other one is immersion alone. I'm going to go more into detail with this, but basically grammar is very good for people who have a very busy schedule and can manage their time very well. Immersion is for people who have more time to dedicate to learn the language. You want to advance at a good pace. It is good for you to dedicate at least 4 hours per week to learn the language. Less than that, more than that, more is obviously better, but you can only do less than that. That's also okay, as long as you don't give up and persevere. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Making mistakes is a very important part of the learning process, and is how you are going to get feedback from everybody. Also, when somebody gives you feedback, don't take it personally. Also, you need to go out there and talk in Spanish, make a risk, and overcome that fear. What is the best methodology? Before coming up with a methodology that works for you, you need to know yourself better. And one of the ways to do this is through learning style tests. These are tests that you can take online for free. But the best resources for this are domains that end on edu, .org, .gov, because those are a little more secure than any other websites out there where you can end up getting wrong information, or even worse, you can get scammed. if you provide your personal information. So try to have websites, try to go to websites that are secure, or companies that you are familiar with, that have a address, that have a phone number and all that, that are easy to locate, and that have good reviews. So this test is important because it allows you to know your two most prominent learning styles. There are like 5 of them, which I'm going to explain later. And this will allow you to come up with a good methodology that will work for you, because everybody is different. We also have a different type of intelligence. There are many of them. And for that reason, not everybody is good to learn a new language. So learning a language for you may be difficult. You don't have those skills already. You don't have that type of intelligence that allows you to learn languages faster. But the most important type of intelligence is what is called emotional intelligence, because if you have enough emotional intelligence, you are able to develop any other type of intelligence that you want. In other words, you need to be able to manage your stress, your anxiety, and your emotions in order to succeed. Developing this type of intelligence is also easy to do, or it can be done through the help of psychology, meditation, yoga, or anything that helps you with stress and your anxiety. Don't think that learning a language is easy. It can be challenging, but if you have a good strategy, it will be much easier for you. So try to take a test to know what the type of intelligence you have. So you need to take 2 tests. One, the learning style test, and the other one, that type of intelligence. So create an effective learning strategy. For example, some people are visual. They learn by seeing. So they are very good at learning with drawings, flowcharts. They are very good readers. And taking notes is a good strategy always for all the types of learning styles. Another type of learning style could be auditory. So you are auditory, you get distracted with noise very easily. So try to be in a room where you don't get distracted, where it's quiet, or where you have a way to block noise. Read out loud, that will help you focus better. Or kinetic learners, people that learn through movement. Try to walk while you read or study. Try to use your finger when you read. Try to have a rocking chair or a chair that allows you to move constantly, like what I'm doing now, or that you can do this. That will help you greatly focus and get the information in your mind faster. For tactile learners, you need to touch. So using your finger to read again, because you are touching, chewing something while you are studying, eating something healthy while you are studying. That greatly helps. Taking notes is an extremely good strategy to learn as well. And obviously, this is not hard science, but from all these techniques that are out there, you can come up with a good strategy that works for you. Now, what is the best strategy then? The best strategy is not what people tell you, is what works best for you. So people can tell you, you do this, you're going to learn very fast. Okay, it may be, but you're going to get stressed and you're not going to enjoy it. Your morale is going to go down and you're not going to be able to succeed. Here are some recommendations to be able to be fluent with the language. As I said before, you need to talk. And if you can have a native speaker, a friend, family member, and so on, that can help you, that will be great. That will be the best option. But do not just go out there and start talking Spanish. Be prepared before you go and speak to a native speaker. And try to start slow. Don't jump the gun. Try to start with words that are easy, like try to learn a couple words here and there, memorize them, learn the pronunciation, and then go and interact with a native speaker. And ask the speaker, can you listen to what I'm going to say? And can you correct me? Can you give me feedback about my pronunciation? What I'm understanding of the meaning of those words? That spelling, and so on. If you don't get feedback, you are not going to advance. The person who is willing to help you needs to be able to give you good feedback. If you get better, try sentences, try paragraphs, try story, but never read. Don't go to a native speaker and read because you are not practicing conversation, you are just practicing read. Now, for some of you, this can be very challenging. If that's the case, then you can use AI. For example, ChatGPT. You can talk to ChatGPT and you can ask for corrections. It's not the best option, but it's better than nothing. Google Translate can be also a good option because it will help you with the pronunciation. You use it from English to Spanish. It will give you the full sentence and normally it works very well. But the best option will be for you to get an app that has AI integrated and that is designed to teach you conversation. There are many apps out there that will teach you Spanish, but they are not good because all they do is teach you grammar, reading, and all of that. They are not going to teach you conversation. You need to be able to talk to the AI. The AI is supposed to respond to you and give you feedback. There are apps that will take you step by step. Those are extremely good options. Now, do not just guess. Don't say, oh, I'm auditory. Oh, I am visual. Take the test. That will help you make sure that the style that you are applying works for you. Be aware of your limitations. If you have problems reading or you have any learning disability, try to figure it out. Try to come up with good techniques to learn the language. There are many resources out there. If you have a teacher, ask your teacher. Experienced teachers may be able to help you and give you good advice. But be aware of your limitations and adapt according to them. Learn to plan. So this is called project and risk management. If you don't know how to plan, more than sure you are not going to succeed. What planning means? Planning means that if you are going to study 4 hours per week, you need to put that in your calendar and make sure that that's a realistic goal. Example, if you work 4 hours, 40 hours per week, and you end at 5 p.m., get home at 6 p.m., and then you decide to study 4 hours after that, that's not going to be a realistic goal because you are going to get tired, stressed, and going to give up soon. You are going to burn out, get more out yourself. So instead of doing that, a more realistic goal will be to come out from work and study just 1 hour, then 1 hour another day, and so on, or maybe in the weekends. But planning requires you to keep in mind all the activities you have during that week. If you need to clean your house, you need to wash the dishes, make food, all that has to be included there. And you cannot put those 4 hours in your calendar. That means that's not a realistic goal, and you need to plan better. Then do you 3 hours. Instead, do you 2 hours, 1 hour. It's better to at least try 1 hour or whatever you can than not doing anything. Now, what is risk management? Risk management means that not everything in life goes according. Sooner or later, something is going to happen that we didn't expect. To calculate that, what you do is you think of the amount of hours you are going to use, or the amount of hours you're going to study, and divide that by 2. That can give you a more or less an idea of how many hours extra you need to put in your calendar. And I'm going to give you more examples later. Your mental health is very important. As I said before, if you are stressed, you are not going to succeed, you are going to get burned out, and you're not going to be able to study and understand the topics, especially if you are learning grammar. Try to make it fun for yourself. So that would be an extremely good strategy. You like songs, try to come up with a good song that you like in Spanish, learn the lyrics, and sing it. Remember, you need to speak. You don't speak, you will not learn conversation. Or if you like, for example, writing, write something in Spanish. Make sure it's correct. Use technology to make corrections to get feedback. Then memorize it, say it out loud to practice conversation, and do that with a native speaker if you can. Or listen to the pronunciation using Google Translate or ChatGPT and try to hear yourself talking. Record your voice so you can compare it with the correct pronunciation. Now, I'm going to go a little deeper into project and risk management because this is very important and this is one of the main reasons why people fail. So, as I explained before, set up realistic goals. Now, if you tell me I'm going to be fluent in 1 year, now I ask you, is that a realistic goal or not? My answer is not. It's not a realistic goal because you don't know your learning style. You may not know your learning style. You may not have an idea of how difficult a topic is going to be. And it's going to come up a situation where you're going to get stuck and maybe you are going to feel frustrated and going to lose your morale because you are not advancing at the pace that you want. Instead of doing that, set up small goals. So when you start setting small goals, then you have a better perspective of what you can do in 1 year. And as I said, the example that I gave you before, if I'm going to study 4 hours per week, there is something that is going to happen sooner or later. So to prevent that, to calculate the risk, you divide the number of hours you're planning to study, divide that by 2, and that will be the amount of hours extra you should include in your calendar. so you can start experiencing success. So if you want to study 4 hours per week, I will add 2 more hours into your calendar as part of that risk management. If you are able to finish in the 4 hours, that's perfect. But let's say that somebody in your family got sick and you have to go to the hospital, then you have 2 extra hours there to finish your task. Okay? And things may change. Things change constantly. So that will help you have that sensation that you are succeeding, so you don't lose your morale. It's better to have big, small successes than waiting for 1 year to have just one success. Focus on learning or studying just than objectives about what I'm going to do in this period of time. For example, I can say I'm going to learn how to conjugate verbs in 1 week. That is not good because, again, it can be difficult to learn how to conjugate verbs. Spanish has hundreds of verbs, and you may not know that. A better approach is to think, I'm going to study. I'm going to sit and study and dedicate 4 hours per week. That's a more realistic goal that will help you have that sensation of achievement much easier than getting objectives that you may not be able to accomplish. Always be ready to adapt. Things are going to change, so change your methodology, change your schedule, change the hours you can study, and all of that, and keep adapting according to your situation. Now, I'm going to talk about grammar. Grammar is one of the ways to learn Spanish. So for grammar, you can buy a book. There are hundreds of books out there. You can take a course online, or you can use one of those many apps that are out there that will teach you grammar. The problem with books and with a lot of the information out there is that you're going to find a lot of mistakes that you are not going to be aware of, especially if what you are learning is English to Spanish. Now, the best books out there and the best information out there is only Spanish, if it is done by native speakers. But even like that, those books may be missing information that you may need to improve your conversation skills. Because of that, and for this methodology, I strongly recommend a teacher. Have a tutor to teach you grammar, because a tutor can tell you what the mistakes are, what is missing in the book, or what you are missing, you're not getting from any of the other resources you have. You need to combine this methodology with immersing. If you don't do that, you are not going to learn conversation. You're just going to learn rules, that's all. So if you have a tutor, the tutor needs to talk to you in Spanish only, and you need to make the effort to talk back in Spanish. For this methodology, it's extremely important to take notes and keep them extremely well organized, because the tutor tells you something and you may think that it's easy to remember. 1 month later, you are going to forget. It's better to take your notes. It will help you memorize better. It will help you learn faster. If there is a topic that is difficult for you, do not keep advancing the course. Go back and review what is difficult for you, use different resources, use different methodologies to learn, watch videos, check online to help you understand, and ask a lot of questions to the tutor. If your goal is to just keep advanced fast and fast on the course without not learning, you are not doing anything really. Now, for first and second level students, speaking Spanish in class can be challenging. But it's better that you use your translator from English to Spanish and talk in Spanish than just talk in English. If you don't develop that skill to talk in Spanish, you're not going to learn conversation. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Try to be at first in a safe environment where you feel safe making mistakes, where nobody will judge you, and so on. But tutors have to give you feedback. Native speakers need to give you feedback in order for you to take the personal. They are trying to help you. Let's talk a little more about immersion and then let's compare both. So immersion is a very good approach if grammar is extremely difficult for you and you think you're having a hard time with it. It can be more fun because it's more spontaneous, more flexible, and you can play, you can learn immersive through games, through stories, through songs, through scenarios. There are many ways to immerse with the language. You have a native speaker to practice with. But it's essential that you are prepared. Don't just go out there and try to talk the broken Spanish that you have. You have to improve. You have to make the effort to memorize, because this technique requires a lot of memorization and a lot of repetition. So the disadvantage of this methodology is that it will not teach you writing or reading. It's mainly focused on conversation. You can still include that into the immersion techniques, but for this methodology, you cannot talk in Spanish because this methodology takes longer. And if you just talk in English and keep receiving information in English, it's going to take you longer than is needed. You need to make the effort to only talk in class in Spanish or talk in Spanish with a native speaker that you are working on, or with apps. AI integrated apps are very good for this as well. You can talk to them and they can talk back to you in Spanish and give you feedback. This methodology may require more dedication, more hours to learn. It may be easier, but because it requires a lot of memory and a lot of repetition, you may need at least 4 hours per week for this methodology or more. Grammar is a very well-structured technique. It takes you step by step. It covers all the aspects of the language. You will learn how to talk, write, read, and listen. And it's better for people that are very busy. And the reason why is because grammar can be very challenging. Studies have shown that when something is difficult, we actually are learning faster. The downfall of this is that it can be challenging, but if you have a good methodology, it will be easier. It's all about you knowing yourself and also about improving your emotional intelligence, either by getting advice from a psychologist, practicing meditation, yoga, or anything that helps you with stress, anxiety, sleeping well, and eating healthy, and many other factors. Overview. So speak Spanish. That's all. You want to have a conversation, you have to speak Spanish. And when you are practicing conversation, you are also listening. If you can, get a native speaker to practice with, but don't just go unprepared. Be prepared before talking to the native speaker. Have a plan. Learn words and memorize them. Do not just go out there and read. And then ask always for feedback. If that's not possible, use AI integrated tools, ChatGPT, and Google Translate can also help you with pronunciation. And if you translate from English to Spanish, most of the time it will give you the correct translation. The same with ChatGPT. That the best option if you don't have a native speaker is to pay for an app that is focused on conversation and that will take you step by step. Come up with a good methodology. Learn your weaknesses and strengths. Be aware of them and adapt according to that. Do not guess. Take tests to know your learning style, your two more prominent learning styles, and learn about your type of intelligence so you can develop a plan that works for you. The best approach is what works for you, not what works for anybody else. Learn to plan and learn about calculating the risk. You need to have small successes in order to be able to persevere and feel motivated. You feel that you are failing, or sure you are going to give up. Have realistic goals. Small set of goals achievable per week, not per year. You can think of long-term goals when you have already well-planned your small goals. Do not think of objectives when learning a language. Think of studying. If you focus on sitting down and studying for 4 hours, that's more effective than thinking that you are going to learn something in a period of time. Adapt to every situation. Be ready to change, adapt, change your methodology, change your schedule, change the amount of hours you can study per week. That is normal, it's going to happen. But always include extra hours. If you are planning to study 4 hours per week, include 2 more. And the amount of hours that you're going to study divided by 2, that's the compensation to calculate any risk that can happen, anything that is unplanned. And include that in your calendar. You are studying, you are planning to study for 4 hours, add 2 more, and add that to your calendar. That will be 6 hours, because that will guarantee that you will at least finish those 4 hours and that you will feel good with yourself because you are achieving your goals. After you know yourself, you know your strengths, your weaknesses, come up with a good methodology and decide if your approach is going to be a combination of grammar and immersion or just immersion. That's all for today. You want to learn with us, please visit our website at espeng.net. Thank you for watching and see you next time.